Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elizabeth. So in today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with us how I made this beautiful dress inspired by House of Naya. So if this is what you're hoping to learn, definitely keep on watching. So I have these two fabrics here that I'll be using to make this dress. One being a flowered crepe and the other one a plain silk. I actually use silk for mine, though I would recommend you use a plain crepe because I didn't like the outcome of this silk at the end of the day. For the flowered crepe, I have about 2 yards, and for the plain fabric, it's not up to half yard. It's just a leftover fabric that I have. So you'll be needing about 2 to 3 yards of the flowered crepe and about half yard of the plain crepe. So that being said, let's get to the drafting tutorial. As you already know how I do on this channel, I'm going to be marking out my starting line first, which is about 1 inch downward from the top of my paper, okay? So after that, I'll start taking my vertical measurement from the starting line. Placing my tape at the starting line, I'll mark my shoulder to my bust, which is 9 inches, my shoulder to my underbust, which is 12, and also my shoulder to my waistline, which is 16 inches. Then I'll go ahead and connect all the points together with my straight ruler like so. Then I'm just going to label my lines just so you guys know what I'm doing. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to determine the length of my basque. So from my waistline, I'll come down by 4 inches, and then with the help of my straight ruler, I'm going to be connecting that to give me a straight line. Then I will label it my basque line. So now I'll come to my shoulder line and mark half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7 inches. And on that point, I'll be coming down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. After which, I will proceed to mark my basic neck measurement of 3 inches for the width and 3 inches for the depth. Next, I'm going to be connecting with my straight ruler from my shoulder slope to my neck width like so. And after which, I'm going to be connecting from the neck width to my neck depth to form my round neckline. So the next thing I'll do now is to determine my chest line. And to get your chest line, divide your round bust by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So for me, my chest line is 7. From my shoulder slope, I'll mark my 7 inches downward, and I'm just going to be connecting the points together with my straight ruler like so, and then I'll go ahead and label it my chest line. Okay, so now I'll mark half of my shoulder measurement on my chest line as well, and then I'll connect with the straight ruler to my shoulder slope just so I can draw out my armhole curve. Okay, after doing that, the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to start taking my round body measurement. So my bust circumference is 32. That divided by 4 gives me 8, and I'm just going to be marking that on my chest line. And then coming to my waistline, I'm going to be dividing my round waist circumference, which is 24, divided by 4 gives me 6. I'm going to be adding 1 inch for that allowance. So I'm just going to be connecting that back to my chest line like so. Then the next thing I'll do is to take my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 7. That divided by 2 gives me 3.5. And I'm just going to connect that all the way to the bust point. Then on the waistline, I'll mark half of an inch on both sides of the nipple to nipple line. And then I'm just going to be connecting that with my straight ruler back to my bust point like so. So now I'm going to be extending my dart leg to my basque length like so, and also extend my dart intake just like you can see on the screen. So to draw out my basque curve, I'm going to be coming down from that point by 1.5 inches, and then I'll connect it back to the waistline like so. And from there, I'm going to be using my curved ruler to connect from that point down to the tip of my basque length, just like you can see on the screen like so. Now I'll go ahead and draw out my armhole curve, and to do this, from the shoulder slope down to the chest line, I'm going to get the midpoint, and on that midpoint I'll come in by half of an inch. After doing that, I'm going to be joining all the points together, the shoulder slope points, the midpoint, and also the point of my chest line, which is my bust circumference divided by 4. So this is going to give you a very nice armhole curve, okay? So the next thing I'll be doing now is to come to my center front and go up by 1.5 inches on the underbust point like so. And then by the side seam, I'll come down by 1 inch on the underbust, and I'll use my curved ruler to connect the 2 points together, just like you can see on the screen. The next thing I'll be doing now is to fold in my darts and then reblend my basque curve, just so I can avoid any shortage on any part of the pattern, okay? As you can see, there is shortage on that part of the pattern. That is the main reason why we closed the dart and reblended, just so to avoid that. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to add my stitching allowance of 1 inch on the side seam. I'll also add stitching allowance of ½ inch on the shoulder line and also on the armhole, just like you can see on the screen. I will also add ½ inch to the bottom of my pattern to stitch it with the gather. After which I will proceed to cut out my pattern. That is basically all for the drafting of the front pattern. Please pay attention to the part that I'm cutting so that you do not make mistake while cutting your own pattern, okay?
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
So after cutting, this is what the front pattern looks like. This is exactly what you should have. Here I divided this part into two, but I'm going to be taping it together later. That was actually a mistake that I made. For the back pattern, I'll go ahead and draft out my basic back bodice. So I'm coming in by 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. I'm marking that in multiple places just so I can have a straight line. And after doing that, I'm going to be using my straight ruler to connect all the points together to give me a straight line. And also, I will mark 1 inch down from the top of my paper to serve as my starting line, okay? From that starting line, I'll be taking my vertical measurement and I'm going to be marking 8 inches for my chest line. My chest line is actually 7 inches, but I added 1 inch for shoulder slope, making it 8 inches. That is why you see me marking 8 inches. So, and then I'll mark my waist, which is 16 inches, and I'll use my straight ruler to connect all the points together and then go ahead and label the points. So the next thing I will do is to get half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7. I'll mark that on the shoulder line and also on my chest line, and I'll connect with the straight line like so. Next, I'll come down by 1 inch from that line for my shoulder slope, and I will go in by 3 inches for my neck width, and then I'll use my straight ruler to connect the point to my shoulder slope. Next, I'll be coming down by 1 inch for my neck depth for the back, and then I'm going to be connecting with my curved ruler back to the neck width. So the next thing I'll do is to divide my bust circumference by 4. I'll mark that on my chest line. My armhole curve, I'm going to be dividing the line I have from the shoulder slope to the chest line by 2. After getting the midpoint, I'll come in by ½ of an inch, and then I'll use my ruler to connect all the points together from the shoulder slope to the midpoint and also to my chest line. The next thing I'm going to be doing now is to divide my nipple to nipple measurement by 2. My nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 is 3.5. So I'm going to be marking that on the waistline and also on my chest line like so. Then I'll use my straight ruler to connect the points together. The next thing I'm going to be marking out the basque length for the back pattern. Remember, for the front pattern, we came down by 4 inches from the waistline. So I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing for the back pattern. Then I'll connect it together and label it the basque length. I hope you guys understand. So now I'm going to be extending that line down to my basque length. Then I'll take my dart measurement. So on the waistline, I'm coming in by 1/2 inch on both sides, and also on the basque length, I'm coming in by 1/2 inch on both line. I'll connect together like so, and from the chest line come down by 1 inch, and then I will connect from the dart on my waist to the 1 inch I came down by from the chest line, and that gives us our basic dart. So now the next thing I'll do is to put my round measurement, my waist divided by 4. I will replace the dart, which is 1 inch, then I'll have my stitching allowance of 1 inch. Then I'll do the same thing on the chest line, divide my bust circumference by 4 plus my sewing allowance. So remember, on the waistline for the front, we came down by 1.5 inches. So I'm going to be coming down by 1.5 inches as well for the back, just so the two of them align. After doing that, I'm going to be curving with my curved ruler back to the basque length, just like you can see on the screen. Exactly the same ritual we performed on the front pattern is what we are doing on the back pattern. Nothing serious here. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to label my pattern, and then I'm going to be adding my stitching allowance. So on the shoulder part, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch for stitching allowance. On the armhole, I will add 1/2 inch for stitching allowance, and also at the bottom, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch of stitching allowance as well. Guys, there's something I forgot to do in this video. Remember, the back has a plain fabric as well, so I forgot to include that in the tutorial. So what we're going to be doing now is, remember on the front, it came down by 1 inch from our underbust line. So that 1 inch, you're going to be adding into your actual underbust measurement. So if your shoulder to underbust is 13, you add 1 inch to it. If it's 12, you add 1 inch to it, just like that. And then on the back part, you're going to be coming down by whatever result you get, and then connect a straight line. So it's on that underbust line that you're going to slash through to get the lower part, which is a plain material. Please, I'm really sorry about this. I promise to make another video that is well detailed. So I've cut out my pattern, and then I place it on my fabric, on my plain fabric. The fabric is actually on fold, and then I added 1/2 inch stitching allowance to the upper parts, like you can see in the screen. And then for the down part, this is the part I was explaining earlier, the part that has the plain crepe. So I added 1/2 inch to the upper part. It's not necessary that part is on fold because it's going to have zipper, so you can cut it anyhow you want to cut it. It's going to be in 2 pieces at the end of the day, but just make sure you add stitching allowance to the upper parts, and then I'll go ahead to cut out.
Game face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me and come out with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun, and now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip with your name on it, but I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it. Time staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. Time staying strong, need to move on to be what I want.
So for the other part that has the flowered crepe, I've gone ahead to place my fabric on fold, and I put my pattern on it like so. Then I'll be adding 1/2 inch stitching allowance to the down part, so I can use that to join with the plain fabric. For the front pieces, what I did was divide my shoulder into 2, and then I connected it with a straight line down to the bottom of my paper. And now I'm going ahead to slash that line open. I will not cut completely, just slash it a little, just so you'll be able to spread it. So after that, I'm just going to be taping it down because it's supposed to be on fold. So the center front is going to be on fold. My fabric is folded into 2 already, So I'm just going to pin it down like so, and then I'll be spreading by 3 inches. You can spread with 3 inches or more depending on the fullness that you want, depending on how full you want it to be, the gathers at the underbust. So for me, I'm just spreading by 3 inches, and then I'm just going ahead to pin everything down just so it's easy for me to work with. And after that, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch stitching allowance to the lower parts. Then I'll go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting it out, this is what the pieces looks like. So this is the front with the plain material with it, and also the back with the plain material with it. So I'm just going to be gathering the upper part of the front like so to fit into the lower parts. So now I'll go ahead and start sewing the pieces together, but I'll start sewing with from the back pieces. So I'm placing the one part of the back like so. I'm placing the plain material facing right side facing each other with the flowered one, and then I'm going to be stitching that area by 1/2 inch. I will also repeat the same thing to the other part, basically sewing them at the underbust by 1/2 inch. So after sewing it, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. So you should have exactly like this. I'm so sorry I did not really show the cutting part of that place. Please forgive me. I'm going to do a better tutorial on how to do that. So moving on to the front part, what I'm going to be doing now is go to my sewing machine and then run a loose stitch on that part, and then I'm going to be gathering it to fit into the other part.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change. Play the game that we say. I need a break.
So after stitching it down, this is what it looks like. This is how the inside looks like. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to pipe the neckline with my bias strip. So this is the color of bias that I have available right now. So I'm just going to be using that to pipe the neckline for the front, and I'll also use it to pipe the neckline of the back piece as well. Then after I'm done piping, I'm going to take the front piece and the back piece. I'm going to fix them right side facing each other, and then I will stitch by 1/2 inch on the shoulder line. So after stitching that down, this is what it looks like already. So the next thing I'm just going to be doing now is to fold it back right side facing each other, and then I'm going to be stitching the side seam by the allowance I gave while I was cutting. So go ahead and join the sides of your clothes together by the stitching allowance you gave while cutting it. So when I was done stitching the sides together, this is what I have. So the next thing now I'm going to be doing is to measure around the lower part like so. I'm going to be measuring it around from one end to the other, and then I'll take note of what I have. So for me, I had about 30 inches, and I'm just going to be multiplying that by 3 to cut out my material for my garden. So this is what I have. I've gone ahead to cut out my fabric. So and for the width of this fabric, for how long the fabric should be, you're going to bring in your upper bodice like so, and then take the measurements that you have from the tip of the shoulder down to that lower part. So you take the measurement that you have there, and then you're going to be subtracting that measurement from your normal gown length, where you want your gown length to reach. So after that, whatever you get, you're going to be using it to cut out the width of this long fabric that you'll be using for the gathers. When you're done with that, you take one end of the long fabric, and you're going to fold it in with about 1 inch. You fold it 1/2 inch, and then further fold with another 1/2 inch. And then the next thing you do is to run a loose stitch on the other parts that you did not fold. Run it 2 or 1 loose stitch, and then you're going to pull it together to fit into the lower part of your dress. And after I was done with that, I also went ahead to fix my basic sleeve and also fix my zipper. So this is what I have at the end of the day. This is how my gown came out. So if you found this video helpful, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and also don't forget to comment your thoughts in the comment section. Turn on post notifications so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. So do not forget to share the video with your fellow soulmates. We've come to the end of the tutorial, and this is how the gown looks on me. So I'm going to be doing another detailed tutorial on a similar style so that you get exactly what I'm trying to pass across in this video. So thank you so much for watching. See you all in my next video.
Strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need